60 odd companies with the fear of code of corporate governance got delisted, but 45 of those were already on delisted companies, and they were not holding their AGMs, they were not giving dividends, they had disclosure issues and all that. So it was not really a big loss to Karachi Stock Exchange. And 15 of those later, we found that 10 had great difficulty in going to the banks and the financial institutions for making a case for their loans or grants or financial support. So the benefits of the code were enormous, and this process which has started, I'm sure it's going to bring some good changes. Mr. Chairman, you talked about the family-owned businesses. So when I left Karachi Stock Exchange, I thought that there were lots of reservation about the code. And why not educate the family-owned businesses, not just the listed companies, but unlisted, which about 50,000 companies at the moment are enrolled with the SEC, and 2,500 fall above the threshold of 20 million rupees of capital. So we tried to focus on those companies. And SECP wanted this to be also a code, but then they were advised by some people that should be a guide. And we worked about a year with the stakeholders, with the PICG and the ICAP to bring this guide. And there has been a tremendous response when you don't want to call it as a code, that people want to come, learn about it. The biggest issue in the family-owned businesses is, as you all know, is succession planning, conflict of interest, and then keeping everything within the family. So concept of independent director or non-executive director, these are some issues that we have touched in this guide, which is available at the website of CIPE and the PICG. My colleague Josefa has brought some copies also if you wish to take this. And then there was a great interest also to have this translated. And this is a guide also translated into Urdu. And the second phase that we also went ahead with the case studies of the good family-owned businesses. And we also have now completed the first time in the country 4 case studies on the family-owned businesses of the Code of Good Governance. And that study is also available. If you're interested, you can take a copy of this. I'm sure others, working members of the panel, will talk about the code itself for the listed companies. The chairman mentioned about the SOEs, and this is a project that we are about to start with the PICG and the Ministry of Finance. And the Finance Minister in the last budget speech said that the state-owned enterprises are causing a loss to the extent of $3 billion annually to the country. So this is the big news, and some of these companies like PSO or PIA or Sui Northern or Sui Southern, you see that hundreds of thousands of employees have been reinstated, and the board of those companies that get sacked overnight, these are listed companies, and yet they are not following the Code of Corporate Governance, be the selection of the chief executive or separation of the role of the chairman of the chief executive, mainly because they fall within the ambit of their own statute. For example, National Bank cannot float its shares beyond 24% because GOP has to have a 76%. But the National Board of the PSO's chief executives are not selected by the board, but rather appointed by the government. So the project that we are initiating is to have a code for the state-owned enterprises. One school of thought is that why this code should not be extended to the SOEs, but then there are various statutes which Ministry 251 says that they have to be superseded through a different code. So we are working on that code, and I think this is a very initial stage. We are enlightening people. There's a duty on every citizen to really call for the taxpayers' money to be wisely spent, and I encourage you also to write blogs or articles about it and demand from the GOP that it has to be a code of corporate governance for the state-owned